Today's demo lesson is a beginner's level lesson on possessive nouns. So if this is something you're interested in, if you're a beginner and you're kind of struggling with how to use apostrophes in your communications when you're using written language, you're going to love this one. If you're more advanced but you're still struggling, you're not sure, you might want to check this out too. This is a A2 level, so high beginner level. So you might want to check this out either way. Anyway, let's get started. Hey, this is Michael with Michael's Business English. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Michael Rincon. I'm a former six-figure data analyst turned ESL instructor and career coach. I support English language learners improve their career development through communications and language training. If you're new here, on this channel we talk about business English, communications, and career development. So if that's something you're interested in, make sure you like and subscribe, and all the links mentioned in this video will be found in the description box below. Alright, so today's lesson is going to be a lesson on possessive nouns. We're going to talk about how to use possessive nouns. We're going to talk about how to use apostrophes for people. We're going to talk about how to use apostrophes without a noun. We're talk about how to use apostrophes for plural nouns that end in S or names that end in S, like James. We're going to use four of things, places, the name of that town, the top of the hill, and we're going to use apostrophes for time words like yesterday's, French lesson, tomorrow's meeting. All right, let's begin. So I want you to read each column, and this is the warm-up. So this is like, for example, this is my house, right? This is my house. It's Joan's house. It's her house, right? What's this one say? This is my son, Fred's son, his son. This is his office, the teacher's office, his office. I want you to match the nouns with the pictures, right? Like each bubble and with each picture. So, for example, the first one, Jasmine's baby. Right, this is a warm-up, so don't worry too much about it. Just like think about it a little bit. So Jasmine, baby, this has to be this one. It's the only one that has a baby. Neil's girlfriend, right? So this is the one that has the relationship. You can see their boyfriend, girlfriend. Meredith's keys. Right, this is the one that have keys. Henry's ball, right? Like remember, this is just a warm-up. We're just practicing to get the mind thinking so you can notice how things work. And because it's just me doing this live on a demo, I can't actually do the warm-up because normally when I do this lessons with my students, what happens is I ask the students to actually practice so they can get their mind thinking and actually reading and practice saying things. So let's look at these examples. Again, each row, right? So Helen plus her house equals Helen's house. The elephant plus its trunk, the elephant's trunk. Okay, notice that what we're doing there, the plus sign. Here's another warm-up. Gary plus his computer equals Gary's computer. The doctor plus her office equals the doctor's office. Okay, now we're going to add apostrophe, right? So Jake plus apostrophe S child equals Jake's child. See what we did there? Sally plus apostrophe S toy equals Sally's toy. An apostrophe is added after the noun and before the S to show possession. Right? So Jake's child. Here's some exercises, right? So what I want you to do here is to use apostrophe S to update these sentences, right? So here's the first example. This is Kate. This is her mom. This is Kate's mom. See what we did there? Kate's mom. You took two sentences and made it into one, right? So your turn. I want you to go ahead and take these two sentences and make it into one. So this is Peter and this is his dog. How would you rephrase the sentence using apostrophe S? So I'm going to give you a minute to try and check it out. Pause the video if you want to take a stab at it. Put in the comments what you think it is. Ready? Here's the answer. This is Peter's dog. What do I do there with the S? One more exercise. This is Samuel, and these are his children. So what do you do here? How do we make this into a shorter sentence so it makes more sense? So we're not being too wordy. This is a tough one, right? This is a trick one. So you may not be familiar with this versus these, but these are Samuel's children. So this might be a little bit more advanced, right? This is an A2 lesson, so this means high beginner. But why do we use these instead of this, right? So that's a question. If you're not familiar with this versus these, why we use this for singular and these for plural, you might want to go back to an older lesson on when do we use singular versus plural nouns and pronouns, right? So let's go to the next lesson. Here's some more exercises. This is Sarah. This is her house, right? So what is the answer here? Ready? Put it in the comments if you think you know the answer. Otherwise, I'm going to tell it to you now. 3, 2, 1. This is Sarah's house. One more. This is Paul. This is his car. What do you think the answer is? This is Paul's car. Okay, good job. Okay, one more exercise. I want you to make each sentence and explain the possession of each noun for each person. So, whose is it, right? So, this is Fahid's hat, right? You can see this is Fahid, and we've talked about the hat. It might be hard to see because it's kind of green, kind of dark. But this is Fahad's hat. I hope I got that right. Sorry, Fahad. It's about the one. This is Janice, and it looks like a scarf, right? So what would you call that? This is what? So this is, remember what we did before? Help you out here real quick. Janice's scarf. Okay? Good. So you can use an apostrophe S without a noun if we understand what the noun is in a sentence. So for example, the first one is Peter's hair is short, but Patrick's is long. And in this case, we're talking about Patrick's hair. Right? So does that make sense? Like, Patrick's is long. What about Patrick's is long? Patrick's hair. Because we're talking about Peter's hair. That's what's coming up in the sentence. Whose coat is this? It's Stephen's. Equals Stephen's coat. We're talking about the coat in this case. Dinah's dog is a Labrador, but Nancy's is a Fox Terrier. In this case, we're talking about dogs. Does that make sense how we're doing it? When the noun is understood without being told, we don't have to talk about it. Kind of like when we're saying he, she, or it instead of that person. So this is why we're saying it's Stephen's, right? Instead of saying that coat is Stephen's, we're referring to as it. So if you're, again, this is a challenge. You might want to go back to some of the beginner lessons. This is a little bit more advanced. Let me do one more here. So apostrophe S with plural nouns. We use apostrophe S for singular nouns, like my friend's book. Most plural nouns in English end in S without an apostrophe. So for example, friend, friends. See, there's no apostrophe. We add only the apostrophe to a plural noun, right? Because most plural nouns end in S already. The student's homework versus the student's homework, right? Like, see how that's different? Like, this is a little subtle nuance. So, let me know if you have questions about the difference between the student's homework, which is the possessive this is possessive, the student's homework, which is not possessive, it's plural. It's a plural noun. Like, this one is saying that the student, this is that person's homework. So, like, John's homework, for example, would be this one. This case, we're talking about students as in all the students. So, instead of, like, John's homework, we're talking about all the students. Because it's a plural noun instead of a possessive noun, we're going to use an apostrophe after the S. So here's a good test for you to try out. So like, boys or boys? So here's one we start out with. Boy plus bike equals boy's bike, right? Because this boy owns this bike. How about this one? Boys plus bikes. Is it a possessive noun or is it a plural noun? Right? So remember we did before, which was that the student's homework, the student owns it, the student's homework. Multiple people are using it, right? Plural nouns versus someone who is possessive. So the correct answer here is actually, let me write it out so you can see it. Boys' bikes. Because instead of it being possessive, instead of it like that boy's bike, it is all the boys' bikes. Same thing here, doctors or doctors. So is this doctor plus office? Is it the doctor's office with the apostrophe before the S, or is it a doctor's office with the apostrophe after the S? That's the exercise. What do you think it is? Type in the comments below. Let me know what you think. Is it doctors or doctors? So in this case, it's actually doctors, the possessive, because the doctor owns this office. It's his office, or it's her office, excuse me. How about this one? Doctors plus office. Is it a plural or is it a singular possessive noun? Right. This is the question. Because remember the trick: singular possessive noun or plural noun. Right. So this one is actually doctors because it's a plural. We're talking about doctors. It's not possessive per se. It's not. Right. So student or students. Right. So again, try one more time. Is it singular possessive or is it a plural noun? Student. Is it a student's exam or is it a student's exam? Does a student own this? Is it a singular possessive, meaning the student owns this exam? Is it his student's exam? Or is it a plural noun, as in multiple students are taking the exam? All right, so take it. So this one is actually students, just like that, with the singular possessive. One more. Is it students or students? Students or students? Which is it? In this case, it's actually students with the apostrophe at the end of it because it's a plural noun, right? So students' exam. The students' exam. All these students are taking the exam. It's a plural noun. Right? Okay, let's go over the homework real quick so we can go through some examples so you have an idea of what to expect. So the first section is read the sentence, write a sentence to show possession using an apostrophe. So for example, this is Emma, this is her husband. This is Emma's husband, right? So remember this from the very beginning of class, right? This is Janet, these are her children. So this is another kind of like tricky one. So if you're not familiar with the singular versus plural, you might want to go back to A1 level content, but these are Janet's children. Remember that. Remember these versus this. All right, so remember back in the beginning we were talking about like when to use apostrophes. This is how you do it. Let's go down to the next section. The sentences do not sound natural. Rewrite the sentences in another way. For example, the arm of my sister is broken. Right? My sister's arm is broken. So the reason this does not sound natural, by the way, is that it's too wordy, and we're going around, we're doing the sentence structure in a very random way. So you might remember how we do sentence structure in the US and American English is different than in other countries. So that's why we have it like this. My sister's arm, the subject, the noun, is broken. Here's a good, oh my God, I wonder why that happened. That's weird. Anyway, sorry about that. That's technical difficulty with this. That's interesting. Okay, let's try this example though. The arm of my sister is broken. My sister's arm is broken. So the computer of Tom is in his bedroom, right? Very weird sentence structure. It's not the way we do it in the U.S. So the way we do it in the U.S. and the American English is that Tom's computer is in his bedroom. Right? Let's go through a couple more homework assignment examples so we can move on. Page 2. Like again, this is the same thing before, so I'm not going to do that one again. Which is correct? Is it the children's or children's? This is the last thing we covered in the demo lesson, was the singular possessive noun versus the plural noun. So is it the children's room is upstairs, or is it the children's room is upstairs? This is an interesting one because we're talking about, like, is it one person's room or is it multiple people? So what do you think it is? Is it children's or is it children's? Is it singular possessive? Are we talking about one person's thing, or is it a plural now? We're talking about multiple people. So children is plural, so this would actually be children's. Oh, children, sorry. How about this one? I don't know that man's name. Is it a singular possessive noun, or is it a plural noun, right? Is it like, I don't know that man's name, or is I don't know man's as in multiple things? So man, if you remember from the A1 lessons, are like one, it's a singular noun. So this would be man's, because man is a singular man is a singular noun. It's not a plural noun. Men would be plural. So this would be men's. If it was men's, you do it like that, because men's is a plural noun, right? Might want to go back to A1. It's kind of tricky for you. Anyway, I hope you found this helpful. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Let's look at the homework one more time. And just rewrite the sentence again. Jan is in the room center. Jan is in the center of the room. So again, this is the reason this is considered unnatural is because of sentence structure, right? So again, the way we do structure in the U.S. like is going to be different than how it is in other countries. We definitely don't. Jan is in the room center. There would be no need to do an apostrophe ownership there because we do a different a sentence structure in the U.S. All right. Hope you guys found this video helpful. See you guys in the next class. Thank you.